welcome to the Microfactory with me, Richard Askam, and my guest today, Chris Min from Infigo. You probably couldn't tell he's from Infigo because it doesn't mention it anywhere on his screen. You are joining us today for the Micro Podcast. We're trying to do a little bit of promotion about the upcoming new events with Mamaki in the USA, starting in a week's time, I think, Chris, or just over a week's time in Los Angeles. Chris, good morning. Welcome to the Micro Podcast.
Good morning, Richard. Thank you for having us, or myself.
Always a pleasure. For those of you that don't know Chris, he's the Global Marketing Director, Manager, King. What would you describe yourself as?
I'll take King today.
King.
I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take King.
We'll go with that. So, and Chris, you're very kindly coming out to California with us in a few days' time to start this, what we hope will be the first of a series of events. Mamaki are very keen to create these Microfactory events across the US in the next 12 months. What do you see as the most important sort of factor for Infigo agreeing to take part?
I think, first of all, we have to all thank Mamaki for having the vision to put something like this together. I think, Richard, you and I have spoken many a time on the importance of working together and collaborating as partners to enable to give our customers and our customers value and profitability. So that really answers the question of what Infigo will bring. We're looking forward to supporting Mamaki with an end-to-end workflow, showing how when you link up the dots, the PSP will really see the value in how the print can be profitable again. And also, let's be honest, and again, you and I have discussed this many a time, on how the generations now have an expectation of how purchasing print, whatever it may be online, needs to be a lot slicker and more like an Amazon style experience.
You're absolutely right, and it's demonstrated really that the print industry is the tech industry. It just doesn't know it. And these events, I know Mamaki are very keen to do a deep dive into a one-day event in various cities across the US, and each one will be different, but in essence, it will show the dots, as you say, that already exist, but haven't necessarily been lined up. Why do you think that is the case more in the US market than let's say the European market, which seems to be a little bit further ahead down that line?
That's a really interesting point, and I'm going to probably come at you with another vision that we see with the US market that the European market doesn't have. I think in the European market, there's a stronger link between technology and software. And I think that's something that we see very much in Europe, and especially in other sectors like the labels and the packaging space. But I think in America, I think those guys are more ahead in terms of the understanding of the importance of e-commerce and in our case, web to print. And we're seeing a growth and a massive interest, especially post-COVID, in what we call second generation web to print. Now, what we're seeing is a better understanding and the need and the power of having an e-commerce online solution. And the American market seems to want that more than actually understanding the hardware and the automation side. So if you can imagine, Richard, if you can get all of those things together and everyone thinking the same way and everyone chipping in with their little piece here on the hardware and a piece here on the software and a piece here on the user experience, then it could be amazing. So just to summarize, we're seeing e-commerce online very much thriving in the US right now. But like, as you say, the technical side, the hardware and the software is very much over here in Europe. But I think that's starting to change.
And one of the things that's a constant, though, Chris, across both of those markets is the consumer, and especially young consumers now who are very much clued into the world that I call co-branding. So personalization for me was always about putting your name on something. Well, actually, that's evolved now into putting your name alongside something. So this first Microfactory event is all about textiles and apparel. We're calling it Textile Lab. Tickets are still available on Eventbrite. They are free if you're interested. But we want people to come and really understand the things that already exist, because when we talk in these terms, Chris, in a lot of cases, people go, oh, I've no idea how to do that. The point of this Microfactory that you're going to be leading off on the 6th of December is to show people that everything that you need already exists. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. If I was attending and I wasn't sharing information, I would say come and ask as many questions as possible. There'll be no silly questions to be asked on that day. I think that is the time to see all the different dots, as we've just highlighted in a previous conversation. Is they're all going to be aligned, and you can ask at every point, how does that work? Why do I want to do that? What's the value in doing that? What happens if I don't do that? Maybe even asking questions from experiences of bad projects and how they worked out and what could have been done better. So I think if you're attending at the event, which I strongly advise you do if you're in the area or you can make it, really come with an open mind. Listen to the guys that are putting on the talks and the sessions, and just really kind of look at how you can add any of those elements to your business. So you may come and speak to us and we may say, look, you're probably not ready for us right now, or you may be, or we can come in here and help you, or have a look 2 runs down the workflow and we'll introduce you to company X and have a conversation. So,
and that's the thing, isn't it, really? And the genius, I think, of this microfactory idea is that everybody that's in that line is benefiting from everybody that's in that line. So there's no competition. It's collaboration in its truest form.
Yeah, I mean, look, we were on a webinar the other day in America, funny enough, and one of the things I said to the host was, there's no point you buying our product if you're not going to embrace the other elements of the workflow, because it's all well and good buying our product at the front of the workflow, but as a business owner, you're not going to get the ROI or increase the revenue or have the additional revenue streams if you haven't got the other ducks in a row behind it. So it's very important for every one of those suppliers that are attending the Mamaki event to support the other elements of the workflow, because ultimately, if we support each other, our customer is going to get the return on investment that they're looking for.
And I like what you said earlier on about returning profit to print. I mean, the whole notion of personalized, customized goods is to add value, right? And of course, in adding value, you're also adding margin.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other thing as well is that, like you said before, the print industry is very much a tech industry. And I come from a marketing background and agency background, so I've always looked at this industry very differently. But one of the things I picked up on very, very quickly was anybody that runs a print house is a very technical, very well understood with machinery, mechanics. These are things that they're not easy skill sets to learn, and the more that the industry is evolving and coming together and sharing knowledge and working in collaboration for the customer, the more that actually it's going to be better than the tech industry, because it's the only place where you can see both software and hardware working harmoniously together. And I think that's something that we miss as an industry time and time again.
Like that, Chris. You've been a fabulous guest as always. Thank you for being on the Micro Podcast this morning. We will see you on December the 6th in Los Angeles at the Mamaki Tech Center. And if you're interested in joining us there, as I said before, have a look at the link underneath this and you'll come and join us then. Chris, thanks ever so much.